January 3rd, my fiancée texted, I uninvited your veteran friends from the wedding. They make people uncomfortable with their injuries. I'd served with these men for 5 years. I replied, understood. Then I canceled the wedding, threw a party for my brothers instead, and posted every photo. I, 32M, am a medically retired staff sergeant. I spent 6 years in the sandbox, working in a recon unit that saw the kind of things that stick to your ribs and never really wash off. When you serve in a unit like that, the men beside you aren't just co-workers or high school buddies. They are extensions of your own nervous system. We bled together. Literally. I took shrapnel in my leg that still gives me a limp when the barometric pressure drops. My best man, let's call him Doc, lost his right eye and a severe burn scarring on the left side of his face from an IED that turned our lead vehicle into scrap metal. Another groomsman, Tank, is a double amputee below the knee. These aren't details I usually broadcast to the world, but they are critical to understanding why I just detonated my life, my savings account, and my upcoming marriage. I met my fiancée 3 years ago. At the time, she was everything I thought I wanted. She was a marketing executive, polished, driven, incredibly organized, and seemingly compassionate. She knew I was a vet. She knew I had some physical and mental baggage, and she always played the part of the supportive partner perfectly. She'd listened to my stories, gnawed in the right places, and even attended a few VFW events with me. But looking back, with the clarity of hindsight, I realized she treated those events like a trip to the zoo. She was observing, not connecting. She was there to be seen being supportive, not to actually support. We got engaged a year ago. The planning started before the ring was even sized. I have a decent settlement from the VA and a successful contracting business now. I restore historic homes, so I agreed to shoulder about 90% of the wedding costs. I'm old-fashioned in that way. I wanted her to have her dream day. The budget was massive. We booked a historic coastal estate, a place that cost more for a Saturday evening rental than my parents' house is worth. It was going to be the event of the season. As the date got closer, the mask started to slip. It wasn't all at once. It was a slow erosion of her personality. It began with the aesthetic. She became obsessed with symmetry and visual perfection. She wanted the bridesmaids to be within a certain height range. She actually asked my sister to dye her hair because her natural red clashed with the peach and sage color scheme. I laughed it off as wedding stress. Everyone says brides get crazy, right? I thought I was just doing my duty by keeping my mouth shut and writing the checks. The issue with the groomsmen started about 2 months ago. We were sitting in the living room, surrounded by fabric swatches. She looked up from her iPad and asked, casually, if Tank could wear prosthetics that look like real legs instead of his running blades for the ceremony. Tank hates the cosmetic legs. They chafe, they're heavy, and he's proud of his mobility on the carbon fiber blades. He runs marathons on those things. I looked at her, confused. I told her no. I explained that Tank is comfortable in the blades, and that's what matters. She sighed, a heavy, dramatic sound. She dropped it. Then, a week later, she suggested Doc might want to wear sunglasses for photos to hide the scarring around his eye. I shut that down hard. I told her, these men are heroes. They look like what they went through. I'm not hiding them behind props. She went quiet. She did that thing where she purses her lips and looks out the window, playing the victim. I thought she understood that this was a hard line for me. I thought we had moved past it. Fast forward to 10 days before the wedding. The pressure was on. I was at a job site, supervising a concrete pour for a driveway. It's loud, messy work. My phone vibrated in my pocket. I wiped my hands on my jeans and checked it. It was a text from Fiancée, a long block of text. Hey, babe, really hard decision, but I made an executive call. I uninvited the guys, Doc, Tank, and the squad, from the wedding. I sent them a nice email explaining that the venue is tight on space, and we needed to cut the list of family only for the head count. Also, to be honest, their injuries are going to make the guests uncomfortable and ruin the flow of the reception video. It's just too heavy for a celebration. I know you'll understand. Love you. See you at dinner. I stared at the screen. The wet concrete spinning in the mixer truck sounded like static in my head. I didn't feel sadness. I didn't feel heartbreak. I felt a cold, sharp clarity, like stepping out of a hot tent into a blizzard. She didn't ask me. She informed me. She looked at the men who dragged me out of burning Humvee, the men who held my hands while I screamed for morphine, the men who literally kept me alive, and she saw aesthetic flaws. She saw props that would ruin her Instagram reel. I reread the text. Make the guests uncomfortable. The entitlement was staggering. She truly believed that her vision of a perfect party superseded the existence of the men who saved my life. She thought I would just roll over and accept it because the deposits were paid and the invites were out. She banked on me being too deep into back out. I opened my contacts. I didn't call her. I didn't text her a paragraph of rage. I typed one word. Understood. Then I went to work. But not on the concrete. I called Doc immediately. Did you get an email? Doc sounded confused. Yeah, man. Just saw it. Said something about fire code capacity. We were going to talk to you about it later. Didn't want to stress you out. Figured maybe the venue squeezed you guys. Ignore it, I said, my voice flat. Pack your bags. Tell the boys to pack their dress blues. But bring the casual gear too. And the fishing gear. The wedding is back on. Something is on, I said. Just get here. I left the job site and drove straight to the venue. The wedding planner, a terrified woman named Sarah who had been dealing with my fiancé's demand for months, looked up when I walked in. She looked exhausted. We have a problem, I said, leaning on her desk. Is it the napkins? She called 3 times about the napkins. She wants a fold to be sharper, Sarah said, rubbing her temples. No, the wedding is off. Sarah dropped her pen. Her mouth fell open. The wedding is in 10 days. The cancellation fees, the catering is already ordered. Sir, you're looking at losing everything. I didn't say I was canceling the contract. I corrected her. I'm the one who signed the check, right? The contract is in my name? Yes, you're the primary signer. Good. The event is still happening, but it's not a wedding anymore. It's a party. I want to change the menu. No fondant cake. I want steaks, ribs, and an open bar that doesn't shut off until the law says it has to. Cut the flowers. Cut the string quartet. Get a DJ who plays classic rock and 90s hip-hop. And cancel the Dove release. But the bride... Sarah whispered. There's no bride. Just me and about 50 Marines and Army Rangers. And keep the photographer. I paid for the premium package, and I intend to get my money's worth. Sarah looked at me for a long moment. Then, a slow smile spread across her face. It was a smile of someone who had been tormented by a bridezilla for 6 months and just saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I can make that happen. Steaks and whiskey. Got it. I spent the next 6 hours making phone calls. I uninvited her family. I uninvited our mutual couple's friends who were more hers than mine. I kept my family and my military brothers. I told my parents what happened. My mother, a woman who raised 3 boys on a teacher's salary and takes 0 prisoners, listened to the story. She said they make people uncomfortable. Mom asked, her voice dangerously quiet. Yeah. I never liked her. Mom said, I'll call your aunt. We're bringing the potato salad. Do you need me to handle her mother? No, Ma. I got this. I didn't go home that night. I went to our shared apartment while she was at a final dress fitting. I packed my essentials. I took the dog. I took my files. I left the ring on the counter. Not the engagement ring. I kept that. But the cheap silicone band she got me for the gym. I checked into a hotel. She started calling around 7 p.m. Babe, where are you? Dinner is cold. Are you working late? Why aren't you answering? I didn't reply. I wanted her to sweat. I wanted the silence to eat at her. I wanted her to feel a fraction of the dismissal she had shown my friends. The next morning, the entitlement kicked into high gear. She realized I wasn't coming home. She called my mother, probably expecting sympathy. My mom apparently told her, my son doesn't marry bigots, and hung up. Then my phone blew up. What is going on? Your Emma was rude to me. Are you having a mental breakdown? I finally replied, I'm not having a breakdown. I'm having a party. You aren't invited. Check your email. I had sent her a formal cancellation of the engagement via my lawyer that morning. She went nuclear. She drove to the venue to try and save the wedding. Sarah, the planner, had already alerted security. She wasn't allowed on the property. Then came the legal threats. Her father, a man who has never liked me because I work with my hands and didn't go to an Ivy League school, left me a voicemail that was 3 minutes of pure, unadulterated arrogance. You listen to me. You are in breach of contract. We have invitations. We have expectations. We have family flying in from fierce distances. You will reinstate the wedding, or I will sue you for every dime you have plus emotional damages. You don't mess with my family. I forwarded the voicemail to my lawyer. He sent back a laughing emoji and a note. Breach of promise to marry hasn't been a valid cause of action in this state since the 80s. Also, since she ended the engagement by materially altering the guest list against the groom's wishes, and you are the sole financier, tell him to pound sand. The days leading up to the wedding were a barrage of harassment. She tried everything. She sent her friends to text me. She sent long, weeping emails about how sorry she was, how she was distressed, how she didn't mean it like that. But then, in the same breath, she demanded I pay her back for the dress. She demanded I pay for her non-refundable honeymoon ticket. She was sorry she got caught, not sorry for what she did. She still didn't get it. She thought this was a negotiation. The day of the event arrived. The weather was perfect. Imagine 50 combat vets, my rowdy Irish family, and a few close friends taking over a venue designed for a delicate, high society gala. We had a pig roast in the garden where the ceremony was supposed to be. We turned the bridal suite into a poker room. Tank took off his prosthetics halfway through the night and used one as a beer holder, which became the running joke of the evening. We had a toast to the ones who didn't make it home. And the photos. Oh, the photos. The photographer, a guy named Mike who realized quickly this was way more fun than a standard wedding, went all out. He got shots of us toasting with whiskey, shots of my mom dancing with Doc, shots of the scars and the eye patches and the tattoos completely unfiltered. We looked rough, we looked happy, and we looked real. I posted the album to Facebook and Instagram that night. The caption was simple. Real friends don't hide you to improve the aesthetic. They toast you. Best unwedding ever. The fallout was immediate. Fiancée saw the post. She must have been stalking my page. She showed up at the gates of the estate at 10 p.m. She was wearing her wedding dress. I wish I was joking. She actually put on a $5,000 gown, did her hair, and drove to the venue. She was screaming at the private security I had hired, mostly off-duty cops who knew the score, to let her in. I walked down to the gate. I didn't open it. I spoke to her through the iron bars. She looked deranged, mascara running, dress muddy at the hem where she'd been kicking the gate, screaming that I was a narcissist and a psycho. Let me in. It's my party. I planned this. I picked these colors, she shrieked. You planned a photo shoot, I said calmly. I planned a gathering of people who actually give a damn about me. You aren't on the list. I uninvited them for you, she yelled, trying to twist the narrative. I wanted it perfect for US. Why are you doing this to me? You didn't do it for me, I said. You did it because you're shallow. Go home. My dad is going to destroy you, she spat. I turned my back. She started shaking the gate, rattling the iron like a cage. The security guard, a big guy named Officer Miller, stepped in. Ma'am, you're trespassing. Leave now, or you ride in the back of the car. She left, screeching tires, leaving skid marks on the pavement. The aftermath has been a masterclass in entitlement. She tried to sue me in small claims court for the cost of the dress, the hair and makeup she had booked, and emotional distress. We went to court last week. The judge was an older woman, no nonsense. She looked at the text messages I submitted into evidence, specifically the one where she called my friends uncomfortable, and then looked at the receipts showing I paid for everything. Every vendor, every deposit, the venue rental, all from my personal account. The judge asked her, did the defendant pay for the venue? Yes, but it was for our wedding. It was a gift of the relationship, she argued. And did you unilaterally alter the agreement of the wedding by excluding the groom's guests without his consent? The judge asked. They were It was going to look bad in the pictures. I was thinking of the final product, she stammered. The judge actually took off her glasses and rubbed the bridge of her nose. Ma'am, a wedding is a celebration of a union, not a film production. You excluded the groom's guests. He is under no obligation to host a party for you after you insulted his closest friends. Case dismissed. Plaintiff, you are lucky the defendant isn't countersuing for the cost of the ring. Speaking of the ring, that was the next battle. In my state, an engagement ring is a conditional gift. The condition is the marriage. If the marriage doesn't happen, the ring goes back to the purchaser. It's pretty black and white law. She refused to return it. She claimed it was hers to keep as compensation for her wasted time and the humiliation I caused her. She told mutual friends she had sold it. Then she told me she lost it. My lawyer sent a demand letter. She ignored it. So we filed a motion for replevin, basically a legal order to give it back. She showed up to that hearing without a lawyer, thinking she could cry her way out of it. She told the judge I was abusive and that I forced her to cancel the wedding. The judge asked for proof. She had none. I, however, had the police report from a night she tried to crash the party, the testimony from the security guards, and the text logs that are threatening to destroy my reputation if I didn't pay her $20,000. The judge ordered the ring returned within 24 hours, or she'd face contempt of court charges. She threw it at me in the courthouse parking lot the next day. It chipped on the asphalt. I didn't care. I pawned it that afternoon and donated the money to a charity that retrofits homes for disabled vets. Socially, she tried to spin it. She posted a long, tearful video on TikTok about how I abandoned her at the altar because I love my war buddies more than her. She tried to play the abandoned bride card hard. She used filters to look pale and sad. It backfired. Badly. Some internet sleuths found my post, the one with the happy veterans, and connected the dots. They found out about the uncomfortable comment because a friend of a friend leaked the screenshots of her group chat where she was bragging about cleaning up the guest list. The comments on her video turned into a roast. So you kicked out a one-eyed war hero and got dumped? Sound like karma. Imagine losing a husband because you're ableist. He chose the guys who would take a bullet for him over the girl who wouldn't let them be in a picture. He made the right choice. She deleted her accounts. The last I heard, she's living with her parents. Her father tried to threaten my contracting business by bad-mouthing me to local developers. He told people I was unstable, that I was violent. But in my line of work, reliability is king. My guys know I show up. They know I don't break contracts. And interestingly enough, a lot of developers are patriots. When the real story got out, small towns talk, my business actually went up. I got 3 new contracts specifically because the owners heard what I did for Doc and Tank. Doc and Tank are good. We're planning a fishing trip next month. Tank is bringing the beer leg. He actually modified an old prosthetic to hold it more securely. I sit here now in my quiet house, down about $40,000, but up an infinite amount of peace. I dodge a bullet. A very expensive, well-dressed bullet. It hurts a little. I did love the version of her she pretended to be. I mourn the future I thought we were going to have. But I love the reality of the men who have my back more. Loyalty isn't just a word we use in the service. It's a currency, and she tried to pay with counterfeit bills. You can't build a life with someone who views people as props. If I had married her, I would have spent the rest of my life apologizing for who I am and who my friends are. I would have been slowly edited out of my own life until I fit her frame. If you ever find yourself dating someone who wants you to Photoshop your reality to make them look better, do yourself a favor. Cancel the venue, buy a keg, and hug your brothers. Subscribe to get notified the next time I have to deploy a tactical nuclear strike on a relationship. Hopefully, the next update is just about how big the base was that Tank caught.